then you watch a game like tonight and LeBron kicked his ass. He's not ready to be a top 15 guy, but he really, really, really gives a shit about every game. It's great. I love it. Like, this is a long, sustained offensive excellence that when you watch it feels legitimate. We're not going to be nice. What do we care? We're just these, let's call it what it is. Sal, we're here. The Bears-Texans game is finally over. We're live on YouTube doing the Guess the Lines BS podcast, and that game started
What
at
the hell was
5:15.
that? What happened? Why did they let that go so long? They can call that game, can't they?
Meanwhile,
21 penalties?
What was the game earlier today that was like 2 hours and 40 minutes? It was over at, I don't know, it was Cardinals Rams? One of those games was super fast. Hey, Houston, Chicago, quickly. Is Caleb going to survive until November with that offensive line? That was my big takeaway. It's like, I fear for this guy's life.
Really bad. Really, really bad for them. And like, I feel like, they won time of possession somehow. I thought their drives were like 40 seconds long, but they won time of possession. And I don't even know if it's the offensive line because they just don't want to blitz, pick up that blitzer from the out, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Just get.
They're like, oh, we have 5 blockers. You have 6 guys. I guess Caleb's going to get hit again.
Yeah, here comes another Roman Reigns spear. Here's another one and another. Like they get him. It can't be cleaner.
Yeah, I didn't want to start with that game, but that was one takeaway, and the other was just, is there a good AFC team? And I know people say, oh, KC's 2-0, they're going for a three-peat, but watching that Chiefs-Bengals game, which we're going to get into, I did not leave that game going, man, the Chiefs are humming on all cylinders. You go through the AFC, Buffalo probably looked the best out of anybody on Thursday night, right? But they're already banged up on defense. Pittsburgh's winning the AFC North right now. AFC South, we just watched Houston. They made a million mistakes. They couldn't even get to 20 points. I don't know what they were play calling was doing. And you go on down the line, and it's like it just, the AFC feels wide open, right?
I'm with you. And even the Texans at 2-0 showed like they should have put that game. I don't want to go back to this game now, but they should have had 30. Really, no. I don't know if it's the Bears defense, but yeah, I feel like we're like 13 weeks into the season already. Like, maybe week 2 is just nonsense. And this is what we get for overreacting. And that's
but the thing is, like, we did the YouTube show today, and all we talked about was overreactions and watch out for this, watch out for that. Nope. And yet underdogs were 10-4 heading into tonight's game. And then the Bears, was that a cover or was that not a cover? What was that? A push?
No, that was
did it end at 6 or was that an official cover?
Pull out my sheet here. Let me go.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
Wait, I just saw Biden's son on that. What was going on?
That was not a cover. That's not a cover. I'm sending this to Ukraine. You're right. No, not a cover. I think only one 4-point favorite or higher covered today.
Okay. So then the favorites, the underdogs were 11-4 today. 8 of those won outright. And there were landmines left and right. I jumped on 2 of them. House was trying to talk me out of Malik Willis going against him on $1 million picks. The Jacksonville one, that was another one. We'll talk about all those. We're gonna start with 0-2 teams though. So I read this: since 2021, we've had 21 0-2 teams with the 17-game schedule. Do you know how many of those teams made the playoffs? 21 teams.
21.
So in 2021, 22, and 23, we had 21 0-2 teams.
I'm gonna say all of them. I'm not good at this game. No. I'll say no. 3. Is it 3 or 4? Is it 3? Okay. All right.
Only 4 of them went 9-8 or better. So granted, small sample size, but also not that small. 22 Cincy and 23 Houston won their divisions. The 21 Colts made the playoffs. One other team went 9-8. Everybody else was under. 0-2 is a little bit more of a death sentence than I think people realize, because the season's so long. You just feel like there's a million twisted turns. You can do whatever. Cincinnati, we'll start with them. They're 0-2. Giveaway loss to the Pats. I still don't. The Pats score 16 and somehow control the game and beat them. And then just a choke job today, right? A game they should have won. The Burrow fumble TD. Jamar Chase gets the 15-yard penalty to basically knock them out. So they have to like kick field goal because he can't stop yelling at the ref. And
Right.
then the coup de grace, 4th and 16, they rush 3. That's a great idea. Let's give Mahomes 8 seconds and then pass interfere on the 4th and 16
With
pass. And
rookie. Yeah, rookie
the
hit him
Chiefs end
early.
up winning. It was like the
Yeah.
moment they had the 3 guys, I was like, oh my God, they've never seen Mahomes play in their lives. And somehow the Chiefs steal another one. The Chiefs could be 0-2.
I know. There's a couple of those teams that could be 0-2. And well, first of all, can we just tell everyone to pump the brakes with the refs give the Chiefs a game. They did it again. Like that was the right call. You know, like it was the
PI
right call.
100
What are you
times out
doing?
of you're not allowed to do
hearing,
that.
yeah, but they were bailed out. It's like, all right, it's like saying, that cop is making tons of money for the local government. It's like, yeah, but the guy was doing 65 and a 30. Like you have to
Yeah.
call that. That's stupid.
The
So
Burrow
maybe they
fumble
take
was a little
advantage of
weird.
these.
I found it
Yeah.
hard to believe we didn't have a good angle of the Burrow fumble with the
Right.
45 cameras we have. It's like, they really, I guess it's got to call a stand. I have no idea if that was a fumble or not. but
Yeah,
it
you
was a-
just see where he strips him, tries to strip him violently. You don't actually really see if the ball comes out. But
So from the positives, the Bengals talk shit all week. I was terrified of this game. This is one of the few possible teases I completely stayed away from. Burrow looked better. I thought they should have
Yeah.
won the game. They were right there. He had more time to throw, which I thought was good. They
Yeah.
still don't have T. Higgins in this game. They're to not make the playoffs plus 110. So basically even money. They are not even close to being a cross off to me. I thought those were 2 stupid losses.
No, you can't cross them off. I think mainly because what's the 7 seed in the AFC? They're 1-1, right?
What do you mean? The 7 seed
At
would
this
be
point,
1-1. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They're only a game out of the 7 seed right now. And they're one of the 3 teams that did just what you said. They came back from 0-2 and made the playoffs. So there's a little bit of pedigree, I guess, if you will. But yeah, I don't know. He's thrown to the tight end. I think he needs T. Higgins more. I think they threw the tight end like 6 tight ends like 16
Gesicki,
times,
who was
or
like
something
buried on the
crazy.
Pats last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So they need more. I guess we saw Lou Anarumo's defense for most of the game until they let up in the 4th, but it was kind of a classic Chiefs game, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, we could talk about them quick. It's stupid. You just feel like they're going to steal these games if it's late. It's very similar to the mid 2000s Pats. And, there's been basketball teams like that. We're like, oh man, don't let these guys hang around. They're going to make 2 plays.
Right.
It's probably the only team in the league where it's 4th and 16. You're like, oh my God, they're going to get this.
Yeah, it's 50-50. It's
gonna
coin
happen.
flip.
But I will say on the Chiefs, I know we have more on 2 teams to get to, but on the Chiefs, like the No Hollywood Brown looks like he's out for the year. Kelsey it's playing out exactly how we thought. I don't want to say irrelevant, but not really that involved either. And it just seems like they have him in the garage with one of those like fancy covers over him. They're not using him that much. But from an explosive standpoint, Rice made one big play, and that was really it. They don't really seem to have a backup running back. I know they have Perrine as the 3rd down guy, but they're bringing in Carson Steele with 2 minutes left, and both of these wins they had this rookie who it's like, really, this is your backup running back in a big moment. So I don't know. They seem a little thin, but they're the Chiefs, and they're going to go 13-4.
They rely on that guy, the guy with the crazy hair a lot, the running back. Yeah, and I think Pacheco's banged up too. They had to, right? Like, so he was 19 for 90. So if he's hurt, that's another thing. And I think people are banking on Xavier Worthy being like, oh, he's going to be a threat. He's going to be a go-to guy. He might have like 3 or 4 touches a game, and you have to hope that one of them explodes,
Yeah. So I don't know. And they have some other tight ends. They just extended one of them, but
I think the thing you could say about the Chiefs is they're the team to beat, right? That's the best thing you could kind of say about this thing. Like, well, they're the team to beat.
Nobody's taken the spot yet, but
right.
But that goes back
check
to the AFC
with us in January. Yeah, they're the team to beat.
Well, it's stupid to cross off an 0-2 team, but I'm not ready to panic about the Bengals. Last year felt worse. Last year was like, oh man, I don't know. And then it just seemed like they had year from hell potential. This year, I think they probably play out of this. All right, Baltimore's our next one. That's another team that's 2 plays away from being 2-0.
Right.
Lamar did make the comment after the game about how they have to get their mojo back. The big concern for me, so Vegas beats them. Vegas is like historically bad running the ball this year. They're 17 for 27 today. Their offense was 4.3 yards per play.
Ugh.
The game felt over for 2+ hours. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're up 10. Oh, here we go. Vegas driving again. And then all of a sudden the game was tied. And they're like, all right, Lamar, can you just end this? Nope. Then Vegas had the ball again. Wait, is Vegas gonna win the and then all of a sudden the game was over? What the hell happened?
I'm looking at the numbers. They should have put this game away. This is what they did last year. Remember at home, they were beating teams by 30 and 40. They were putting them away, and especially a team like the Raiders, who I know are a knuckleball squad that you just want to strangle. But you know, they had 150 yards rushing, 84 from Henry. It all added up like that. They should have scored in the 30s. So I don't know why they ended up with 23, and we're relying on Tucker kicks still.
Right, and he missed a long one. That's their fourth double-digit lead in the fourth quarter that they've blown since 2022. The thing that concerned me, they had a bunch of penalties too. They had 11 penalties. The thing that concerned me, though, it just seems like you could move the ball down the field on them when you need to, right? Like Bowers, who was awesome, and Adams had 20 catches today. Minshew was like 80%. And it just felt like every time he needed to throw for 7-8 yards, once they realized they couldn't run the ball, they could do it. And I don't know if that gets better for the Ravens. So for them, for no playoffs was plus 104. So it's pretty in the neighborhood of the Bengals. I gotta say, like, I put them in a couple teases today. I was like, Baltimore's not going 0-2. They're home. They're playing Gardner Minshew. Like, this is take care of business. This is only the second 0-2 start they've had with Harbaugh in 16 years. I have more concerns for them than the Bengals.
We talked about it all week. We said they're the no way this team's going 0-2 team, right? And so where the Bengals screwed everybody on the eliminator pick last week, this was the Ravens. Like we could make it. You can have a perfect eliminator pick, just like picking good teams to win every week, and they don't. They just come up short. I don't know what's going on with this league.
I don't even really know how to explain the Vegas comeback. But I will say Bowers was awesome. Really he just has it. Like he's one of those. He's like a video game tight end. They throw over the middle. He's just like, it's almost like he's looking for dudes to run into so he can bounce off this guy, this guy,
tap
carry
B,
this guy.
Tap B, he'll spin. I think he actually scored. They didn't give him the touchdown, but I actually think he scored on that one. Yeah.
So their next three, here's another reason I'm a little more bullish on Cincy, although their schedule is not a walk in the park either. Their next three, Baltimore, at Dallas next week, home Buffalo, at Cincinnati.
Yeah. This was one of the stretches. Yep.
To win the division, they are still favored plus 185 on FanDuel. Cincy's plus 190. Pittsburgh's plus 360. They're 2-0. And your Cleveland Browns,
what are
plus
they?
450. So nobody in that division is basically it's 2-1 and up if you want to bet on that division.
Remember when we tried to pick first through fourth in this division? I was like, no, good luck, man. You can give me 30 guesses. I'm not going to get it.
What do you think that Baltimore offense is missing?
Like I said, I was looking at those numbers. What would you want out of Henry? Like, hey, if you can get us 18
I was watching it going,
yeah,
like what? I don't even know. They have power running. They have good tight ends. Flowers is good. It seems like they have speed with Aguilar. Like I don't know what I would add.
We were saying their best offensive play through all of it is though when their offensive line breaks down and Lamar just takes off up the middle, right? And so that's maybe why they're not so hot in the red zone, because that you lose that if he doesn't have timeouts or doesn't have the end zone to back him up. So I don't know though. I really am more concerned about their defense. I think that initial point that you can move on them. I don't know if it's a Patrick Queen thing or what, but they need to I don't think this is not, it's one thing to say if it's Patrick Mahomes doing it, but when Gardner Minshew, it's not like good quarterbacks are going in there and embarrassing them.
A team that basically said we can't run the ball, we're just going to throw it every down, and the Ravens still let them throw. I have real concerns about them. I'm slightly more concerned about them than Cincinnati. Next one is Jacksonville. Now their odds are a little different. What do you think their odds are not to make the playoffs?
To not? Okay, so the Texans are 2-0. Everybody else in that division's 0-2. To not is minus 180, or is it higher?
Minus 355.
Wow.
Vegas is like, we've seen enough. This is the worst coach team in the league. We're out.
Right.
This is the dumbest team in the league. It's enraged me that I bet on them today, especially coming back after last week against Miami. And they took the stupid up 7 notches in this game. Sal, they had, first of all, Cleveland was 2 for 14 on third down and won. Cleveland had 13 penalties for 100 yards and still won. Jacksonville had first and goal from the 2, settled for a field goal. First and goal from the 19 inside the red zone, field goal miss. First and goal from the 6, touchdown. Second and goal from the 2, went backwards, kicked a field goal. This is the stupidest team you've ever watched. And it's like, hey, if Trevor Lawrence, is there a guy you can overthrow in a huge moment? Oh, there he is. Try to throw it right over his head. I just can't stand them. I really can't. I'm never betting on them again, and I probably will next week.
They're brutal. I picked them to win the division. I'm ashamed of myself. And I send you, I'm going to do this every week. I send you and Hench and House those 1 p.m. games, the first half stats for the quarterbacks. I mean, they're miserable. Everybody's at 40 yards. Everyone's at 46 yards. But this one, Trevor Lawrence had 16 yards. And Jack Fox, the punter for Detroit, had 17 yards. What kind of odds could you have gotten on Jack Fox over Trevor Lawrence at halftime?
Trevor Lawrence was so bad for the first 2 hours of this game that I almost couldn't believe it. Because I have him in 2 fantasy leagues. I bet him to throw for 4,000 yards. He was just sailing the ball all over the place. And then Thomas, who I think gets like 3 targets a game, who every time they throw to him, it's the most exciting play on any TV, right? He's 50 yards downfield, jumping up, and then it's like, all right, put that guy on ice for another hour. Yeah. I don't understand how they're 0-2. I actually thought they should have won both of those games. I don't understand how you don't beat Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun, to his credit, was better than last week. He
made some good throws. He took off. Did you see how he tried to blow it at the end, though, with the clock management?
Oh, he sure did. Yeah, he sure did.
Snapping the ball with 9 left on the play clock, and then does that rollout on third down where you're supposed to just take a knee, and then he has a defender in his face, and he chucks it into his like face mask. So that stopped the clock. I was like, how is Jacksonville getting the ball back with 1:37 left, let alone any time? And they almost blew it. But yeah,
Jacksonville had a classic. They get the ball back. It's that they're on like the 3-yard line. They're down 3. It's like less than 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left, whatever it was. And it's just like, they're so fucking stupid. Lawrence is probably going to get sacked for a safety. Like whatever play they're running here, it's probably a play where he's going to hold the ball and get sacked for a safety. You're just watching it going, you can see it coming off the highway. And then of course he did, like no quick pass, no like just quick run up the middle to buy 5 yards. No, send Thomas down the sidelines to just chuck it and see if he can run under it, get a PI. No, it was the Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to take 3 steps back. My first read isn't open. Then I'm just going to curl right into a sack. They are so stupid. How is this always the worst coach team?
You know what I sense in your voice more than just, and you lost money and I lost money.
Yeah,
no, I know, but I think you're also disappointed in Trevor Lawrence.
I am.
I think we have to be. We have to be disappointed in the quarterbacks who were once deemed good, and God knows, maybe even people sending them to the Hall of Fame. And now, because they're so bad as a bunch, these quarterbacks, we can't lose any good ones or mid-range ones even. So yeah, I'm with you. It's even disgusting.
He sucked and he sucked and he sucked. And then he made this awesome scramble. And he ran downfield like a gazelle for like 40 yards. And it looked like he was going to run in the end zone and like put his shoulder down and just bowl his way in. And instead he did like this weird tiptoe thing, got tackled on the 2, and then they went backwards. And I don't even think they scored. They might have settled for a field goal, but that's just something's missing with that guy.
They're so weird.
And we thought this was going to be the year he blossomed. And instead it's like, now I have more doubts than ever with them. Anyway, no playoffs for them. Minus
that's high. 350, you said? Yeah, that's high. I'm not going the other way because I already have enough on them, but that is high.
So the Rams, they're our 4th 0-2 team. Their entire team is now in the hospital. I don't know if you realize. Cooper Kupp couldn't make it 2 weeks. They got the Arizona game was over. People didn't even realize it was on yet. It was the 4:05 game. We were like, hey, I think there's a game on. And you go, and it was already 7-0. And Arizona ran all over them. No playoffs for them now, Sal. Minus 600.
Yeah.
Next 3 games. San Francisco home, at Chicago, home Green Bay. I don't know if this is our year from hell team yet, but this is the heavy favorite that this is the year from hell team. So they've had like 9 guys go down already.
It's funny we went back to back Jacksonville and the Rams because those are my pick both of them to win the division. Really, you should do this podcast with somebody else, anybody else. Just grab Ben Simmons. Like I don't know why I have the Rams in
Which
there.
Ben Simmons, my son or the
either have them alternate.
retired basketball player, either of them?
Yeah, either one will work. But yeah, I mean, because I love this game for the Rams. I bought into the trend. What is he, 13-2? Sean McVay against him. And by the way, we stayed away from the trend Thursday night. Oh, the Bills, they own Josh Allen on Thursday nights. I'm like, damn it, I'm not doing this again. I'm going with the trend. The Rams are better. The Cardinals have no defense. Look at this. Kyler Murray's already it's in disarray, his relationship with Marvin Harrison. What a trick that was, huh? What a trick that was. Like, hey, it's not my fault if he can't catch the ball. I'm like, oh, he's done with him. And like you said, before anyone knew the game was on, he had 2 touchdowns. It was 14-0. But I think you're right about the Rams being done.
Harrison, every single play he made was completely different than the previous play he made. He basically played the hits. It was like a YouTube video. I think the Rams are done. Cup going down was kind of the final straw. Now they don't have Cup or Puka heading into the year, and I ended up putting them in the playoffs. But my fear was they were so top heavy. It's like, fuck, man, if they lose one receiver, if Stafford goes out 3 weeks, like you just start going down there. It's like an 8-man team.
Anyway, I don't have enough confidence in Tutu Atwell to carry them the next 15 weeks.
We have a couple more 0-2 teams left, but let's take a quick break. Okay, I forgot we were on YouTube. I just kind of paused for yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can't do that.
Sorry, people watching YouTube.
This is what usually moon me.
This is when I usually do cocaine. Back. I forgot. I was going to do like 3 bumps. All right, next 0-2 team, Indianapolis, who gave up 473 yards rushing over the last 2 weeks.
Woo!
They lost to Malik Willis today, who I don't think attempted a pass that traveled in the air for more than like 5 yards. He was 12 for 14, 122 yards. He had 6 carries for 41 rushing yards. You had to see it to believe it. Gus Bradley, who a lot of the diehard football people have been saying is terrible for a while. Mm-hmm. This was his masterpiece. He was so bad. They were 3rd and 1s with Malik Willis as the quarterback, where they had like 5 guys on the line and 2 linebackers. Like he was going to throw deep. I was just speechless. I couldn't believe how dumb that. I would have put all 11 guys on the line. All they were doing was exactly what everyone said all week, including on most of our gambling shows, is, hey, LaFleur is going to run a bunch of gimmicks, quick passes, little mini reverses, little pitches, and, basically like act like a high school football team. And Gus Bradley's like just in his base defense. Like that guy shouldn't last a week.
It made so little sense that I bet the Packers. I was like, "Are you kidding me? They didn't break anyone in to compete with Malik Willis this week. What do we see with them? I can't even believe he's on a roster at this point. They're gonna force me to bet on him. And then, like you're right, you're saying, like, all right, the only way they're gonna do it is to rush for 261 yards, and they did that. 151 for Jacobs. Like, yeah, Gus Bradley. I don't know. I forget who the D coordinator is for them, but just disgusting. And they took forever to score that last touchdown. Like they really like running it like there's 11 minutes left
at that point. Yeah. Listen, Green Bay only scored 16 points.
Yep.
The Colts were just completely throttled by this Packers defense that the Eagles, basically crushed in Brazil. Anthony Richardson was not a good game for him. No. He's pretty raw. He makes some of the worst throws you'll see on the TVs on a Sunday. He had a couple doozies today. Just looks really raw. There are no playoffs as minus 400. I actually think that should be higher. They have a top 4 or 5 worst defense in the league. I'm not sure.
You might have just picked the wrong South to have a combined 31 wins or whatever it was.
Right.
It might just be that it's going to be.
Well, Carolina's going to go in 17. So what was the FanDuel odds were 30 for the NFC South? Yeah. So we just have to make sure the other 3 don't get to 30.
That's true.
I don't see Indy making the playoffs. I don't see Tennessee making it either. 0-2 with 2 giveaway losses.
They have the worst quarterback. I mean, that guy is just, whatever doctor you want to listen to, mayonnaise in the coffee definitely causes brain damage because that guy with the Levis with the
Levis.
backward flip that you're going to see, like when the coach is saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" for millions of people to see. Maybe it's time to take him out.
Well, it's
What are
like
we
both of
waiting
our
for?
sons have played flag football when that's like, they're
Yeah.
10 or 11 or 12. And every once in a while there's a flag football player. We're like, oh my, why did Johnny do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why did Johnny think he could just lateral it backwards to the referee? Just like the
Yeah.
stupidest things you'll ever see. And Levis has done like 3 of those.
He loves it. It's his go-to. It's his finisher.
He's just kind of like gamey. He's just out
Mm-hmm.
there like, whoa, hey. It's like watching somebody play quarterback who's drunk. If it
Yeah.
came out after, it's like Will Levis has been drinking before these games. It's like, that makes sense.
And with no memory either. It's like, oh, now I remember why everyone's mad at me because I did this
Uh,
last week in a game
oh
that was
yeah,
unlosable. Yeah,
you're
to the
right. I
Bears.
shouldn't have thrown it to the other team.
All right, coach, I get your side of it.
No playoffs minus 600.
Yeah.
Denver. Um, so Bo Nix, the Bo Nix Bryce Young passing stats are about as brutal as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
There's like historically bad stuff. I watched that whole game because I really needed Pittsburgh to win for a variety of reasons. And
You watch it
Denver,
because the NFL screwed us
there
and
was
gave
only
us only
3
three
games.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was 10 games early, 3 late. Denver kind of controlled the second half
Yeah.
secretly and just missed a couple plays, but that game was a little scarier than 13-6. Pittsburgh did nothing in the second half. They couldn't move the
No.
ball at all. And Denver
Any big
was
pick. I think Pickens set a record for celebrating plays that were called back for a penalty. It might have been 3, but yeah, you're right. There were. I don't. And if what's there, no playoffs. It's got to be
it's like 20
1300.
to yeah, 20 to
22,
1
yeah,
favorites.
yeah.
But
They had a chance. Can we just talk about that game for a second? The way that
their
that ended.
chance.
Why did they not onside kick? Like, has the league made the onside kick so impossible that Sean Payton's like, no, we have to kick deep with 1:43 left and 1
Yeah.
timeout. It's like, really, you're gonna get it back with 18 seconds. They got it back with 8 seconds.
I have a
I don't like this
different
kickoff
complaint
thing.
about that.
Yeah,
So it's 13-3. It's 4th and 5. They're on the 10-yard line. They need 2 scores.
you go for it.
And yeah, because even I think they had all 3 of their timeouts.
Mm.
You're not gonna like you kick a field goal, then you have to go like 70 yards whenever you get the ball back. The much easier, more realistic scenario is like convert the 4th and 5, you cut it to 3, and then if you get the
Mm.
ball back, all you have to do is get to like the 40-yard line because everybody can kick a 50-yarder
It's
now.
close.
I
Yeah,
was
it's
shocked
close.
that he just settled for the field goal, and I'm watching
Yeah,
it going. I have all money and I'm rooting for Pittsburgh because I have division bets on them and all kinds of things. And
right.
I'm just like, oh my God, he's going to go for this and they're going to get it. And they're going to fucking somehow force this game to overtime. But
Yeah,
I thought he
especially with
screwed
the
that up too.
Steelers. The idea that you're going to get 4 first downs in a row against that defense is not not probable. But
I
I don't
have
know.
not seen,
Not being able to onside kick. The guy who onside kicked at halftime against the Colts in the Super Bowl does passes on the onside kick because of the new rule. I got to see what this looks like.
do you think Bo Nix is a starting quarterback?
He is on one of my fantasy teams. You
Well,
pointed it
that's our
out.
double QB team. Um,
I think we should have double kickers. You're right. Everyone's booming 55 yarders. I was against having
yeah,
kickers at all. I think everybody should have 2 kickers now. Forget it.
maybe we should just have a
Yeah,
kicker league.
yeah, you're right. Maybe that's the way to do it. But I still think Bo Nix could maybe fight back somehow to be a quarterback in this league.
He was betrayed by his tight end with the long hair. What's his name? Dulcich.
Yeah,
He dropped
right.
at least 2 easy pay. He was just awful.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen a lot from Bo that I like.
Can I just,
Uh,
I like all year in the off season, I interview like ex quarterbacks or whatever
yeah.
for the Ringer shows. And I asked almost all of them about these 3 and everybody's like, oh, they're going to all be special. It's like, I know you're not allowed to say one of them's going to suck, but 2 or 3 of them are going to suck. It's
Yeah.
just how
Odds
it
are it's
is,
50-50.
isn't it? So you can go back on that pretty much anytime you want.
It's the history of the league says 50-50
Yeah.
odds at best, maybe 40-60. 2 more 0-2 teams. We can cross them off now. The Giants, who today against Washington became the first team ever to score 3 touchdowns, give up 0 touchdowns, and lose. And apparently their kicker who had been banged up all week, but they weren't smart enough to make sure they had another kicker on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
That leads to that. And so every Giants fan I know would probably run Joe Shane over in their car if there was no like video cameras. Um, they're really bad. Not a surprise, but somehow Carolina is way worse. Carolina is minus 60 already for the season. We have 15 games left. They're minus 60. They've scored 13 points. Benching Bryce, shout out again to Steven Ruiz on my pod a month ago. This was one of his hottest takes that he thought Bryce Young would get benched this season.
Right.
And I think we're in range because it's that bad. Like it is like you can't have them on a TV. He's such a mess. And I
Yeah.
don't know if he makes it to November.
This is one of those 35-yard a half guys that just doesn't give you a chance to win, right? You look at his first half stats. I'm just looking,
Yeah.
trying to see who, as if it matters, but Andy Dalton's the backup. All right. So we'll get a good laugh out of that. But, yeah, man, I don't know how much they could see. This is a very sad franchise all of a sudden, and it doesn't really even matter who they play. Like, oh, the Panthers were 6. That's a steal at 6 against the Chargers, who don't travel well. It went down to 4.5. Don't touch it. And Chargers are up before. That's the one game I didn't watch. I'll be honest. I was able to see 9 games. I had to kick one of the 10 off.
I had it on my cable, my box that has the cable TV because House and I, for $1 million picks, we did Chargers first half, Chargers game,
Smart.
plus 130. I able to take it off in like 45 minutes and replace it with another game because it was just,
Yeah.
you could just tell right away. I think Carolina might be the worst team in any sport if the White Sox didn't exist.
Wow.
I think it's that bad. The White Sox are the worst, but at least the White Sox have like a farm system and I guess some things they could point to. If you're the Panthers, what are you pointing to?
Yeah, it's like if you would, the White Sox still have a couple. It's like you wouldn't bench every White Sox starting pitcher, but Bryce Young has to sit because he just kills their offense.
Yeah,
No chance at all.
Well, they can't block for him combined with,
Yeah.
We've just seen this before with these young QBs, but um, I think 0-17 is like not crazy for them. I know it won't happen because the season's too long and they'll catch somebody in the wrong thing, but they just don't have any talent. And then Brown was their best defensive player. He's out.
Yeah.
So
They play the Giants in Germany, October something. And that I think
you're
is
right, early
be,
November.
Is it November? Maybe it's November. That's the one. I could see them going goose egg, both those teams until then. That's going to be a treat.
We fucking stuck Germany with that one, huh?
Yeah, we should go to that game.
Fuck you guys. We still remember 80 years ago. Here's our worst
remember
possible
that?
football game. Okay, those are all the 0-2 teams. Let's play two more games just to talk about quickly. Vikings Niners. Vikings 23, Niners 17. The Vikes ended up with 407 yards and had no receivers in the fourth quarter of the game. Everyone was out, including Jefferson. Their defense was great. Sacked Purdy 6 times. He had a fumble. No McCaffrey, obviously. San Francisco hasn't won in Minnesota since 1992. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I had no idea
That's
that
a
this
long
was
time.
like they were talking about it during the game. But the big thing is that just the Sam Darnold renaissance. And I have one of my best friends is a huge Vikings fan. He mailed me the clip of Darnold walking in the locker room after the game. Like those Minnesota Vikings Twitter feed. And the team is just like, yeah, they fucking love Sam Darnold. It's like, how did this happen?
This is a Darnold duping, though. He did do this a few years ago, like with the
Oh, you think a Darnold
like
rope-a-dope?
the little bit of a Darnold duping here. And I'm looking at their odds to make the playoffs. We could jump on no for even. We could do it. We have a few dollars left.
Even right now?
Yeah,
what if
I guess
Justin Jefferson's out for a while?
I mean, who's 7th is the problem? Is it the Cardinals?
Well, it depends if we get.
If you go Seattle, just admit one of the NFC East, Dallas or Philly is going to be the wild
We're getting
card.
2 from the West, so we'd have to get 2 from the East, 1 South, and then.
Well, you might
get or Minnesota.
You could still get San Francisco, Seattle, and I like Arizona all of a sudden.
I like Arizona too. I'm with you. The other one was Bucks Lions. So I stayed away from this game because I thought the line was too high.
Yeah, went to 7.5.
And the Bucks played a really good game there last year, and something about it scared me. I wish I had that feeling about some of the other games I've been on. but the Lions had one touchdown on 7 red zone trips.
Hmm.
Goff had 2 horrible old school Jared Goff picks. They ran 83 plays, which is like an incredible high amount. How many times do you think Goff passed in that game? Do you know this?
I
How
don't
many
know.
Goff passes today? What would you
Out of
guess be?
83 offensive plays,
Yeah.
uh, it's high. Was it 44?
He threw 55 passes today.
Wow. Wow.
55 passes. And watching the game, and we didn't even have the game on for the first half because I just thought, and then when it became interesting, it made it TV. And it was just weird. It was like they were airing it out like they were down 20, and it was, a 1-score game for
Right.
2 hours. But I don't know what that team's doing. They're built to just pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, play action, hit like Laporte doesn't witness protection.
Yeah.
St. Brown, who was going for $50 in some fantasy leagues, they really only have 2 receivers. Like Khalif Raymond's playing a bunch for them as their third receiver, but I'm not
Jamison
panicking yet, but
Williams
I
is
didn't like
good.
it.
He's a little hurt, but Jamison Williams is good. But yeah, we're missing the. Oh wow! Look at Mount St. Brown open over the middle for 35 yards for 30 yards. Right? It seems like we don't ever get there with Goff anymore. Even with the last game, it's tough. And they had to do that crazy fake punt. If that hadn't worked, this might have been a blowout. Maybe we just all the NFC South teams just screw us all the time.
No, it's early. There's basically no preseason, and these teams have to round in shape. I just don't know why they're
Right.
not pounding the ball. One thing I'll say with Tampa, and we knew somebody stupid was going to come out of that NFC South, and I want your New Orleans scouting report in 1 second. But the fact that Godwin looks like he's Chris Godwin from 4 years ago, that this
Yeah.
season, they just seem a little more dangerous when they need a first down. They need to go 70 yards. I feel like they have more options this year than they had last year. And Baker's playing really well. Like he's, I wouldn't say he's a top 12 quarterback, but he's probably above average now. So
Maybe. I mean, a lot of these teams, that's all you need. 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and the defense could do the rest. But yeah, you're right. With Godwin, I kind of feel the same way I do about the Saints. I don't know if you want to get to them now, but they're
what's
playing
that?
with confidence, right? Like Baker's
Yeah.
playing with confidence. Carr's playing with confidence. They talk about this Kubiak. Oh, he's with Kubiak. Really? He's been in the league for 100 years, Carr. He really just needed, no, it was just the right coordinator to get him going. And they look super fast, the Saints. They look sideline to sideline really fast. I was singing songs about the Cowboys linebackers all week. And then just like they have, talk about like a retread, like they have a 2018 version of Alvin Kamara just sprinting to the sideline and getting around the corner. Is
Yeah.
that,
What
that could
happened with
maybe be a
that?
scary team
How did
too.
they rejuvenate Kamara?
I don't know, man. My
Oh,
team goes
Sal's getting
back and
sad
forth.
for
It
people who
just
can't see these things.
we just go back and forth between like being super prepared for a game like we were for the Browns, and then just did we practice at all this week? Either that or the Saints are great, which I didn't want to believe just yet.
So, confession, I did not watch really any of this
Oh,
game because there
mhm.
were 10 early games, and I knew for the podcast, I knew you were going to watch the whole game. So I
Mhm.
just decided to give you the car keys for the Saints.
Wait a minute. You
Cowboys
put
Saints.
this on first of all, I have a bone to pick. You said this is a barely watchable, but then you put it in your 4 screen for YouTube.
I know. Well, I underrated the Saints, and I changed my mind.
All right.
Now there were too many games, and I wanted to see how Green Bay did with Malik Willis. I wanted to watch the Jets Titans game. The Pats Seahawks
You
was like a
did?
permanent one.
Yeah.
Lions, then the Ravens Raiders guy. I just knew you were going to watch it for us. But then the Saints had 28. How many points did they have at halftime? So they
They
made
had
it so that you didn't even
35.
need to watch.
It
Yeah,
was
35
35
points at
16.
halftime.
And Carr had 11 completions. So I'm going nuts about his relationship with the coordinator and everything, but they ran for 190. Like that was the difference. It was just one of those games that got a hand. It's weird because the last home game this happened was the playoff game against the Packers, where I sat in your couch and I don't know,
And
I
got
did
sad.
awful things, really, really bad. But yeah, so I guess this is our thing, Mike McCarthy. We just get trounced at home. This is fun.
People aren't afraid to come into your house anymore.
No,
There is some Clint
Jerry.
Kubiak as the new hot offense coordinator buzz.
Great.
But unleashing whatever was there with the Saints. If it's cool with everybody, I'm not going to trust it.
All right. How
because
much
they
are you
killed the
not going to
Panthers
trust
in
it?
week 1, and then they kind of just took you guys by surprise in week 2. But I need a little more evidence. We've been down this road a bunch of times with Derek Carr. I find it hard to believe in his early 30s, all of a sudden he became this gunslinging leader of a team that's going to score 500 points for the season.
I mean, talk about they're minus 200 to make the playoffs right now.
What?
How plus 160 the other way? We're going to have to bite on one of these because we're already miserable about it.
Wait a second.
I love that
I
FanDuel
had
has
some,
these up these late. Yeah.
I know. Kudos to FanDuel. So New Orleans, let's see, they have home for Philly, at Atlanta, at KC next 3. They could be 2-3 in 3 weeks. Don't you think?
Yeah. I was going to look at it the other way. Like, all right, they have Carolina again. They'll split with Tampa.
Panics in week 4 after Kirk officially loses his job after tomorrow night's game.
Yeah.
Did you watch Jets Titans? Because I happen to watch a bunch of that one.
Yeah,
we talked
most
about
of
the
it.
Titans side, but the Jets side was interesting because they were alternately not impressive at all. But Rodgers made 5 old school Roger throw. He still can work that sideline and throw these beautiful touch passes. And Wilson is not nearly as evolved as I thought he was going to be.
Right.
Brees Hall isn't like, this amazing. It's not like 6 yards of carry every time they get the ball, but they snuck that one out. That was a really dangerous game. There was a moment there during the 1 o'clock games when it looked like the Pats were going to beat Seattle, and it looked like the Jets might go 0-2, and we're heading toward this Thursday game of the 2-0 Pats out of nowhere against the 0-2.
I love that. That would have been
Yeah.
great. I still think
That
you have a
didn't happen.
shot, and we'll get to that. But yeah, Braylon Allen running the ball, like no one
20-year-old Braylon
carries
Allen
from Brees Hall. So yeah, he's spreading it out, Rodgers. I think you're right. I hate to give him credit. He looked good, and he looked like a capable Jets quarterback. So 24-17.
With that said, his body language in a couple moments in the first half looked like he was ready to check out. There's a couple, like there was a terrible 3rd-and-1 play where the guy got stuffed and Rodgers was just doing the frozen, really, guys, like it, and then there was a couple shots of him sitting on the bench. It's like, what's going on? Is he happy? Is he talking to anybody? But then
people get on Vrabel, but I don't know that they would have been 2-0, the Titans with Vrabel, but I don't think they lose both those games.
I don't think so either.
Stupid team.
Pat Seahawks was the other one. Very winnable game for the Pats. Brissett just seems like if he was a starting pitcher, he's got 5 innings in him. And then it's like, well, the top of the lineup's coming up. And you're like, can we start warming up, dudes? Because this guy's not getting through the lineup again. It was a super winnable game. The secondary was bad. And that was basically the reason they lost was they had a huge breakdown on that Metcalf touchdown. A couple PIs. With all that said, I really felt like Kyle, did we decide they should have gone for that 4th-and-1 in overtime? We were kind of like, whatever they did, I was going to disagree with.
They should have gone.
Kyle was just, let's pound them, let's go. But once they punted, it just felt like they were going to lose.
I think that's a surrender index, right? That's surrendering the overtime. We're going to tie. Why is a team like the Patriots out to tie? Are they going to go 6-9-1 or 6-10-1? That's going to make the difference. Of like, just go for it there.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't say this in the moment. In hindsight's 2020.
Sorry, no one was there.
With some time to marinate on it, the move was to go for it, because if you get it, then it's like, oh man, then we fucking went for it and we got the 4th-and-1 and we came down and it was like, yeah, it's a new Patriots team. And instead they punted and the Seahawks scored and now we have no momentum. But
I think they should ask the defense, like, hey, how tired are you guys? Like, I don't know. We've been out here for 4 hours. This sucks. We're getting pounded. Please just go for get the 1 yard. Just go for it.
Please score. 2 things. Gino once again was kind of sneaky, really good and came through. And he has a bunch of these come from behind touchdowns in the 4th quarter, but I thought he was really good. I did say to Kyle during that game, and this wasn't in the moment thing, it's like the Patriots are competent enough that I think they should start thinking about Drake May, because Brissett's pretty limited.
Yeah.
They scored 20 points today. They scored 16 points the other day. He basically can't throw the ball downfield at all. And I think if May had played in that game with the fact that the O-line can block better than I thought before the season, he might have been able to swing that. I wouldn't play him this week on Thursday
When's
against
he
the
coming in?
Jets.
I was just gonna say, when do you put him in? When do we see him? What's the
Well,
over? The over under is home against the Dolphins, October 6th.
now when we first sketched this out, it was at the Jets that Thursday, so no, but then they would have 10 days to prepare for at San Francisco week 4.
No, don't put
You
him
don't
in.
want to do
We
that.
saw it with the Niners did, right?
Yeah,
Home
that's
for
a
the
no.
Dolphins.
Home for the Dolphins week 5 seems like it would be the move.
Yeah,
And
that's fair.
I think if they're somehow 2-2, who knows? But I thought they're going to be awful. It's a really likable team. It's fun. They're fun to watch. It's the crowd likes them. The energy. They're all playing hard and
Good. I like this.
I don't know. It's better. It's certainly better than like rooting for Carolina.
I think your playbook is a little limited too, though. So I don't know if Drake May would.
It's because of our quarterback.
Is that why? All right.
Yeah, Brissett's a great guy. It's just he can't do certain things. He's not mobile. All right, we're gonna take another break for the podcast, and then I have one more game to play with you, and then we'll keep going.
But we got to keep talking for YouTube.
All right, we're back. All right, quick game. I didn't tell you we're doing this. Definitely or maybe, or definitely hype and maybe. I like that more. Definitely maybe. So tell me definitely or maybe for either of these. The Chiefs.
Are you going to show me pictures of girls you dated?
No.
Oh, all right. Okay.
No, this isn't like face smash.
I see.
Definitely maybe the Chiefs 3-peat might actually be in trouble.
Oh, just maybe. You can't say definitely, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Their team to beat, Bill. Yeah.
All right. Now it's going to get harder.
Ooh.
Kyler Murray is back. Definitely or maybe?
I'm leaning definitely. I don't think that
I'm giving him the definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of good things, and maybe they just had their number and they were going to crush him no matter what. But he looked, if you ever liked Kyler Murray, he looked every bit as good as that Kyler Murray you liked.
Harrison, McBride, Dortch didn't have a good game today, but he was good in week 1. Connor can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain style and feel and pace that seems like it makes sense for him. It seems like he's post knee surgery, just seems a little more inclusive. He was a little withdrawn, I think, in the earlier Kyler years, but did not seem like that today or last week. And they almost beat Buffalo last week too.
All the memes added up. He's like, F these people. Will show like a baby carrying a loaf of bread and saying, there's Kyler in preseason. Like, yeah, I think he's finally figured it out.
It's an adventure store.
Good team. Yep.
Definitely maybe. New Orleans has an elite offense.
Oh, I have to just say maybe.
Okay.
I can't say definitely. They were scary today, though. But I'm hoping it was just something that just got out of hand and we'll never look back.
Definitely maybe. Justin Tucker isn't a top 4 kicker anymore.
I'm going to say definitely. As far as like, if I bet on him and the confidence, I don't know. Maybe you could show me a stat that says that he is, but who would you rather have? Let's go over the 4.
So I made a list. Aubrey might be the greatest kicker of all time.
Thank you.
Dicker on the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Boswell's lights out now.
The guy we just saw.
And Fairbairn
right.
on the Texans. Those 4 are just clearly better than him at this point. And then I'd probably put Harrison Butker over him too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's top 5 anymore. I mean, he's older. He's the greatest kicker of all time. But
yeah, always best opera singer.
I would rather have those 5 guys for this season. Do you have a theory why field goals are so easy now?
I don't know.
Do we need to change the rules to make them harder? Like, remember in the old days, you could kind of jump over the center as they snapped it and do, jump on your guy's back. Right. Maybe we need to bring some of that stuff back. What's fun about watching these dudes make like 54-yarders right down the pole? So, hit the camera. Wow. Yeah. It's like, I don't care.
That camera is on the other side. So don't blame our cameras for that going in. Don't you dare do that.
It's gone too
Caleb
far.
Caleb Williams is the best, Bill.
He didn't move his legs. Just it's
How-
throwing. It's all arm.
How did the Texans win when this guy put up 40 touchdown, 40 yard. He has 40 yards. A 40-yard. Oh, okay. Yeah.
This guy's so much better than he was last week. 13 points.
He's like dying to not play anymore.
Just
Like, please get me off this field.
Every play. Oh my God.
Maybe they put the old goalposts in just to freak the kickers out. The ones that looked like H's. Maybe that's the change. Switch that up.
Maybe we move the goalposts like slightly closer together.
Moving them in like arena football. Yeah.
Definitely maybe Sam Darnold is about to be redeemed.
No.
You're like out. You're neither definitely nor maybe.
I might say
go
definitely
maybe on
not.
It.
Really?
All right, definitely not. That's a good third one for this.
Yeah.
Definitely maybe. Now that we've seen it in action in games, Joe Burrow's hair looks kind of cool.
Definitely.
I like it too. Yeah, it looks good. It's really nice.
I'd kill for it. Definitely, Joe. He's just very cool.
Joe Burrow took a lot of shit, but it fucking looks cool. I gotta hand it to him.
Yeah.
He looks like he's like the villain in a Netflix series set in South Carolina. It's like terrorizing teenagers.
Is he the villain? Is he Hollywood Hulk? If he
or maybe he's the star.
Yeah. Does he turn that black? Yeah.
Definitely maybe or definitely not. Pittsburgh's going to go 10-7 or 11-6 somehow.
Well, all right. I'm meant to look at the quarterbacks they face, because there's going to be some games where they're going to have to score 20 points, right? Aren't they going to have to at some point?
Well, but don't you feel like they told Fields, look, we're going to win these first two games. Don't throw the ball over the middle. Don't do anything stupid. Don't try to run for 2 extra yards. We don't want you to fumble. Yeah. We don't want you to throw the ball to the other team. We just need 13 points. Week 3, we're going to unleash you. Just trust us.
Sure.
Feels like that's
I think that's right. All right. But I'm looking at the quarterback. So these are the goodish quarterbacks they'll face. Herbert, Dak, Rodgers, Lamar, Burrow. I mean, these could be losses, right? Hurts, again, Lamar, again, Burrow, and Mahomes. 10-7. They could do 10-7. The rest are bad.
They started out the season with 2 road games and went 2-0. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel good about that pick that I was ready to let you give me a mulligan on after we did the over-under pod. And I was like, if I could switch one thing, I would switch Buffalo and Pittsburgh. But we said, you know what? We're sticking
and they had one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely maybe Tua should retire.
You know, I thought about this. There's no way to govern this, obviously.
No.
Because I taped something at the top on Thursday where it's like, I don't know what the number is for these dudes to retire. And then I watched I flew home from Boston on Saturday night and I watched boxing and UFC on JetBlue. And I'm just thinking, like, these guys are just all getting the crap kicked out of them, and then they get up and they go to the next fight. Like, who are we to tell Tua?
Oh, I'm a complete hypocrite, and for that very reason. Like, I see Tua with the fencing arm, and I'm like, oh no, let's not do that anymore. But then I'm like, this guy gets knocked out. I'm like, oh man, he should fight John Jones next. Like, doesn't matter. It's like he can't get out of the octagon. He can't figure out where the door is.
If I was Tua's like roommate in college, I'd be like, yo, dude, like, what are you doing? How much money can you make if you just retire now? But well,
there's just some guys who it's gonna be problematic. And you said it. It was kind of a miracle that they kept him upright last year.
Yeah, they had him in bubble wrap last year. Yeah.
Yeah. But
and
now
even like that play,
hit,
like he kind of forgot the script that he wasn't supposed to do that. But
he ran into Hamlin's bicep, basically.
Yeah.
It wasn't helmet to helmet, it wasn't anything, and it left him
Well, do you think that was a playoff team either way?
The Dolphins were?
No, did you? After watching those first 2 weeks, I didn't think they were one of the 7 best AFC teams anyway. So I don't know if it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, maybe not. What is that number now? Does it?
They probably don't even have that on FanDuel, right?
They do. Oh,
what is
man, you're gonna love this. Yes is plus 1.8. Yes. Oh, I should have had you guess. You want to guess? Did you hear it?
I would have said like minus 300. No.
Wow. Jump on there. Noah's minus 144.
Oof. So they must think he's coming back in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but
That's
so
another
what?
team. They're
Then he
like the
goes
Rams.
away.
It's like 2 more injuries and that whole team falls apart.
Yeah.
A couple other random things before we get to guess the lines. Rodgers, once again, I don't even think he threw for 200 yards today. So his 300-yard streak continues. It's been since week 13, December 19th, 2021. NFC South, 4 wins. I'm worried about our bet. I'm not worried about my Aiden Hutchinson sack title bet.
Really good. What do you have?
11 to
today?
1. That might pay for all my futures. We did our futures draft for the year. It's 11 to 1. He's got to be leading by like 3 sacks.
He was excellent. And he kept everybody in he kept that team in the game is the problem.
Yeah.
Let me see. Do they have stats? Let me see. Hold on.
I think
This might not have it all. Yeah.
I think Pickens is on pace to have an entire alternate universe fantasy season of plays that didn't count or pass interference yards, where it's like he's basically like Megatron in 2009. He like 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns just called back, or they didn't exist, or they happened over here. Somehow he's always in those.
Do you think he goes to the locker room and yells at the guys, the offensive lineman who held? He's like, "You're making me look stupid out there. I'm dancing," and everyone's like, "Well, you don't have to dance." Yeah, yes, I do have to dance. What do you mean?
Well, they should almost put a transmitter in his helmet, just like beep it, so he doesn't start his dancing stuff.
Yeah, or a big yellow flag on the field could be an alert too.
Here's my next question. Have we pivoted back to quarterbacks not mattering in fantasy football? Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that was always the thing in the 90s, 2000s, most of the 2010s. And then all of a sudden, when the touchdowns and the yards really went up, then it was like, well, I'm not going to win unless I get one of these top guys, or unless I spend money and I possibly have 3 guys that I can mix and match. And now it's like, I don't know. Who are you excited about? Are you fired up to have CJ Stroud?
Yeah.
Are you fired up to have Josh Allen? He threw for like 120 yards that week, like Mahomes. Like it's the league for, and a lot of people are talking about this. Became a big topic. It felt like over the last couple of days about the passing stats going way down. How there's way more running, what the reasons are. It's pretty interesting about how the defenses are getting just faster and sleeker, and they're doing the 2 safeties way back. So now it actually just makes more sense to run and make the defense pull people up. So then there's just more running plays. And then Goff throws for 55 times. So I don't even know.
I talked to the parlay kid. You know him well from Against All Odds. He loves parlaying over 1.5 touchdown passes for a quarter, and he'll put like 4 together. I was like, you have to stop with that bet. You have to.
Yeah.
There were 33 touchdown passes last Sunday. Like that's disgusting. You're not going to get there anymore. What Allen didn't get there. Obviously, Tua didn't get there from that first night. And how that game didn't go over was another thing. But then, like you pointed out, for fantasy wise, on our kick out league, here's Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, whatever, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Geno Smith. They're all available. All available. Like those
Baker Mayfield's still available?
4 of those guys would be as good as anybody that's presented.
Yeah, you look like Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Hurts, Jaden Daniels. I guess Kyler was doing pretty well, but even his stats weren't great last week. Yeah.
It's Geno Smith, it's Carr, it's all the weird ones that you would never think of in the beginning of the year.
We're in a weird fantasy reckoning. How you feeling about your team before we go to guess the lines?
I don't know. I don't fine, I guess. And then if they're we're gonna go 1 and 2 against after the Ravens, and then it's gonna be problems. Then he's gonna have to sell the team. And there's gonna be talk about McCarthy leaving and all that other stuff, and Zimmer sucking.
What was your worst bet today?
Great.
What was your worst bet today?
Worst bet? Okay, let me see. I'll pull this out for the YouTubers.
No, don't give me Hunter Biden's bet. Give me your bets. Did you and Hunter do a parlay together?
Dallas plus 3.5 on a lot of like 3-team teasers, which I know you're not supposed to still do. I had your dumb team, thanks to Raheem, under 17.5. That didn't work out. I don't know. That's bad. What was your worst one? You couldn't have done great.
My worst one was on the plane yesterday,
Mm.
just sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for it to take off, and remembered that, oh, this only have FanDuel for a little bit longer before we get in the air. I should make a couple more bets, and I'm doing like I was trying to be disciplined like this whole season. Like I'm gonna
Right.
do 3, 4, 5 bets. That's it. I'm doing like, oh, Sugar Sean. Let me put him
Yeah.
with freaking the Dallas money line. I mean I just ripped
Right.
off like 3 or 4 of the dumbest bets ever, and I put
Mhm.
no thought in them at all because I wanted to get it done before we took off.
Yeah. I wondered, do they have
FanDuel, America's
stats?
#1 sports book.
FanDuel partnered with Southwest Airlines. Get your bets in right away.
Stay on the runway for 10 more minutes. You can squeeze in 3 more bets you never would have normally made.
Ooh, do you think they're in cahoots with the airlines? To like, sorry,
Yeah,
we're delayed.
they're
We
like,
have
we have a live fish on this JetBlue.
me-
Simmons is in row 5.
mechanical issues. Yeah, Bill Simmons.
I had like I bet on Brian Ortega because my son told me he really liked Ortega. I'm like, all right, I'll throw him in with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That didn't work. I had another one. I did Canelo under 8.5
Uh,
for that fight. He hit the guy. Somehow I was on JetBlue and I had UFC on. I had 2 iPads. I had UFC on one iPad and I had the Canelo, that whole card, in the other
really?
one. And the
Wow.
Wi-Fi
You
worked
are rich.
pretty
Yeah,
much
go ahead.
well enough. Um,
Yeah.
but the Canelo one, he's just throwing bombs at this guy for round after round, and the guy goes down in the 3rd, he goes down in the
Third round.
7th, but
Yeah.
somehow he just makes it.
You look at what we could have made betting him to win by decision over the last 8 fights, and
That's
you'll
yeah,
you'll
he's
never
6 in
stop
a
vomiting.
row.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And then you could have gotten 3-1 odds on it. So
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Mm.
When these guys add the weight and they go up, these knockout guys who they're fighting 20 pounds heavier than they used to fight, the punching power doesn't seem like it comes with them.
Well, I
The
get
only
it.
one I
Yeah,
remember is
right.
Hearns. Like Hearns was like the only one who was able to put on weight and keep the power. I guess
Yeah,
Holyfield did too when he got to heavyweight.
I know. I gained a lot of weight. I have no power, so I think you're right.
We're rambling, so that means we're going to take a break and get to guess the lines.
Yeah, baby.
All right, coming back. Guess the lines. Week 3. Did you beat me last week too?
We tied.
Did
We
we
tied.
tied?
10-10. Yeah.
I'm going to beat you
So
this
I'm
week.
up 101.
By the way, should mention here are the 2-0 teams:
Are there
Buffalo,
any?
Pittsburgh, Chargers, KC, Houston, Minnesota, New Orleans, Tampa, Seattle, Arizona. I think
No,
that's it.
Arizona's
Not
not 2-0.
Arizona. Arizona.
No.
Not no. Take off Arizona. So we got 8 plus Philly tomorrow, potentially.
Yeah.
Right?
And which one do we say we would bet against to make the playoffs? The Saints?
I really need to look at that this week. Because one of these teams would be like, oh, remember when the Saints started out 2-0 and then they finished 6-11 and Dennis Allen got
Right.
fired? I'm still not.
I know, but we kind of have to do it now, right?
Yeah.
All
Week
right.
3, the Jets are home. They're playing the Patriots of New England. This is, by the way, I think our only night game this year. How the mighty have fallen.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. This is it.
Enjoy it.
I have the Jets by 5.5.
You should try to pick this exactly because I sure as hell did.
5.5.
6.5.
You picked it exactly?
I did. Yeah. The rest,
It's a
that's
whiff high.
fair.
Yeah, that's a whiff high.
Think so?
Yeah. Yeah, the Jets last week they got killed by the Niners, who then just lost to the Vikings. This week they barely beat the Titans, even though Will Levis, we were joking earlier that it seemed like if a quarterback did have drinks before a game, this is what it would look like. So I don't know why they'd suddenly be almost 7 points against the Pats, who beat the Bengals and then almost beat the Seahawks. I guess it's
first
short
home
rest.
game, right? I guess the place will be pretty pumped for Aaron Rodgers
Will
to
it?
make it to the distance.
Have you been to a Jets game? Is it a place that gets really pumped? I would say it goes the other way.
Yeah.
It
I don't
gets
know.
more surly.
That's what I mean by pumped. That's how we say in New York, pumped. But this is going to be interesting for him. He's going to have his family there. Oh, no, wait, his family doesn't talk to him. No, it's going to be a good game. I think he could upset him.
Kyle was so happy today that I was rooting for the Pats, even though I have like five futures against them.
Just come to.
Sunday's
Kyle was
marquee
happy.
game. Sunday's marquee game.
Yeah.
It's really probably the Eagles and the Saints if it's 2-0 teams, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go Cowboys Ravens because if the Cowboys coming off just getting lambasted by the Saints at home.
Yeah. I wish Baltimore had won.
And you have the 0-2 Ravens somehow playing a must-win game in week 3.
Yeah.
Right? This is, I think, got to think at least for the division, 0-3, pretty hard to bounce back and win. I put this line low, even though it's in Dallas. I have Dallas by 1.5.
Oh, you got it exactly. I said 2. Thought we'd get the nudge there. Yeah, you don't want to say must win, right?
I think it is.
But 3 losses would be something.
Because we did this earlier, but the next 2 games after this are hard for them. They're home for Buffalo and at Cincy. They basically have to go 2-1, right?
2-1 out of those 3. Yeah.
The problem for them is even when they have a lead, I feel like the other team can throw the ball on them and come back, which makes it an unusual Baltimore team.
Derrick Henry used to be the greatest clock killer of all time. What happened?
He still looks good.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Watchables. So it's a pretty good week next week. I gotta say, I thought I had 4 watchables, and I had 3 fairly.
Well,
watchables.
they relieved us, and I know I complain about it, and you and I and like maybe 3 others only care, but when they had 10 games early on and 6 came down to the wire, and I was like, screw these guys. Like I can't. Scott Hansen had an aneurysm. Like I just give us 8-5 or 8-4. Stop it already. And then you got 3 games in the afternoon. 2 aren't competitive within like 8 minutes. Enough. Spread it out.
Yeah, there was one stretch in the early games where it felt like in 5 games at the same time, there were just like pivotal 2-minute stretches and they were all overlapping with each other. And you're just like, wait, what? How do I? Watchables.
10.
So I don't think this is going to be an aesthetically pleasing game, but I can't wait to watch it. Steelers, Chargers in Pittsburgh. 2-2-0 teams, 2 similar teams, trying not to do too much on offense. On defense, trying to win games, not make mistakes. Team that obviously like built around their coach's personality. There's nobody believes in us on both sides. 2 teams that I backed before the year as playoff teams. And I'm interested to see what happens in this. I think the Chargers might have a slightly higher upside than the Steelers because of the quarterback. Because the Pittsburgh quarterback, we still haven't really seen him have to make a play yet. When it actually matters. They've always had the lead. I have Steelers -3.
All right. I pussed out on this. I thought about it for a long time and I'm like, I don't know who's going to be favored. So I gave it the 9-9 round. You can't respect me as a judge. I made it a pick 'em. And you're right. It's a long way of saying you're right. It's 1. Oh no, we're both right. It's 1.5.
Oh,
right? We're both right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why you did a pick 'em? The fuck's wrong with you?
I shouldn't
never
do that,
had
right?
pick'ems.
I know.
Well, they never happen. The Cardinals Rams game today was a pick'em, like heading into kickoff, which I was like, that never seems to happen.
I'm trying to beat you. I'm not beating the Vegas. I know I can't do that.
Well, so in the old days, -3 meant it was -3 for the home field advantage. That has now dropped over the years to now -1.5 is the home field advantage. So they're basically saying those teams are exactly even. Next watchables, Texans Vikings in Houston. Although the Texans were not watchable today. Hopefully this game won't take 4 hours. I'm sorry, this is in Minnesota, not in Houston. My bad. So why have Houston favored? I had it as a 2.5 before the game tonight, and I think I'm just going to keep it there. I've Houston by 2.5 in Minnesota.
Nah, move it lower. Move it lower. I had 2, and it's 3.5. You get it.
3.5.
Maybe the Sam Darnold duping hasn't hit FanDuel yet.
Well, if Jefferson doesn't play, you know, Texans are probably a good
I think he said
eliminator
he
pool.
doesn't think he's going to miss time. Can we? I want to give throw the NFL a bone. They still don't know how to schedule games, but the fact that they came out with the AJ Brown news before kickoff today means that they're sort of looking out for fantasy owners, because that McCaffrey thing was so bad last week, and it came down like an hour before the game when nobody can make moves. But they didn't have to say if AJ Brown was playing Monday night, Sunday at 12:40, and they did. Good job by you.
Do you think the NFL should run commercials congratulating themselves? The
They
NFL,
would
we
never.
finally care about our fans.
It's the players we don't care about.
The NFL, caring about our fans since 1 week ago. Uh, yeah, that is a good point. They definitely did that for fantasy because if you started AJ Brown, it's
Yeah.
just an out and out catastrophe.
Right.
Next one, Eagles at the Saints.
There
This
you
is
go.
arguably the best game of the week if the Saints are good. I have the Eagles favored in this game, so I'm gonna say Eagles by 2.5.
I think you're going to beat me this week. You got it exactly. I thought it would be one. I guess I did like the Saints more than what I
Week three
thought.
is I usually have good week threes.
You're up 4-2.
You know, everyone in New Orleans hated Carr. I wonder if they flipped on that now because the Saints are fun. Like coming back, the two big wins. I wonder if they'll have like an awesome crowd for this game. Awesome old school Saints crowd. This
Yeah.
feels like
Well,
a
so
gambling stay away.
they were home against the Carolina, right? Yeah. This is their second home game.
Yeah.
This could be a good one.
Last one, Lions Cardinals. This is also in Arizona. This is a game that could have been like Lions -6 in the look ahead line, but now heading into week 3, I don't see how it's higher than 3.5. So I'm going to say Lions 3.5.
You get this one too. I said 2. That's how much I like Arizona. It's 3.
Yeah.
They're going to make you bet it off the 3.
I think people are still going to look at Arizona if they didn't see the games and say they're 1-1, and the only reason they beat the Rams is because all the guys in the Rams got hurt. But Arizona has a good offense, and I regret not taking the $1 million picks this week.
Can your guy Hutch contain little Kyler Murray? Can he get him?
Yeah, I want him to. Can he
Another 2,
clinch the
3?
sack? Let's clinch the
Is it
sack record
over?
in September. Fairly watchables. Colts Bears. Not quite bad enough to be a poop fecta game, but I definitely don't want to watch this. It's in Indianapolis. Colts by 2.5.
Oh, come on. I don't I hope people seeing this on YouTube, how you're, sauntering into the screen. Yeah, it's 2.5. What are you looking at?
Well, I thought about changing my mind to 3, but I kept it where it was.
I said 2. 2.5. 2.5 it is.
I don't think I would put money on the Colts again anytime soon.
No. So you're calling this a stay away, right? Because you can't go Bears.
I really like Steichen. I thought he did some weird shit today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, he's in charge of the other coaches, right? So you could take Gus Bradley and be like, yo, what if we just move all our guys up and make Malik Willis try to throw deep? But I thought there was some game management stuff that I just didn't agree with. Seahawks in Seattle playing the Dolphins, which I assume no Tua for that game, correct? I thought that's going to reflect the
I would
Lions.
think so.
Yeah.
So
I'm
they're
going to
not
say
going to clear him right that now 1 week later, right?
I'm going to say Seahawks by 5.
All right, you edged me out again. I said 4.5. It's 6.5.
Oof.
Pretty high. I'm just I just can't guess more. I see, this should be 5 in the old days, but nobody wins by 5 anymore. So they'll make it 4, right?
Well, 5 becomes the appetizer, and then it eventually lands at 6 or 4.
Right.
Or 4.5.
Do we have to change the Vegas zone?
To what?
Like 3.5 to 4.5 or something?
No, it's 4.5,
No?
5.5, because those
All
are
right.
spreads that never happen.
Right. I'm just thinking the way they now, we don't see a lot of 9, 11-point lines. Everything seems to be smaller now.
Yeah. One Seahawks now, that guy Murphy is really good for them.
Yeah, Byron Murphy.
That rookie nose tackle. He was wreaking havoc in the game today. That was a really nice pick. 49ers at the Rams is the last one. And it's a borderline poop fecta if Cup doesn't play because I don't know who's going to be catching balls for the Rams, but I have the 49ers by 3.5.
Get me again. I had 3. It's 7. Let me check this.
So they're
I
saying
gotta check
Cup's not
this.
playing then?
This ain't nobody's playing. Yeah, it's
I mean,
7.
shit, at that point, don't play Stafford,
Right.
right? Just give him the week off. Just punt on the game. Man, that's going to be a grim Rams game. You're going to have 40,000 Niners fans there. All the
Mm-hmm.
Rams who have tickets aren't going to want to go. Yikes.
You
Poop
love
fecta.
it. You love that teaser game. You love it.
I do. I'm probably going to tease that one. It was one of those Purdy games that make you go, huh? Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the Purdy critics have been talking about. Okay. Poop fecta. Bucks home for the Broncos. Wow, the Bucks could be 3-0.
Yep.
I have the Bucks by 6.5.
Well, what do you know? You got it exactly right again. I said 7.
I'm on fire. I'm glad we're catching
Yeah.
this on YouTube.
Yeah.
We should do a headline like guy catches fire picking games, something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah. You're on fire. Like, I'm trying to think of a world renowned cheater who would be on fire, but I can't just,
This
it
is,
escapes me right
this
now.
is always what happens. You always accuse me in week 3 of cheating.
Bill Belichick's on fire. Put those cameras away.
Packers at the Titans, the Malik Willis revenge game. Malik Willis back to make the Titans pay. It's like Kill Bill 3. I don't see how the Titans can ever be favored against anyone. And I'm gonna just say Packers by 1.
Oh, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get one. I
What
said
is it?
Tennessee by 1. Tennessee is favored by 2.5. So go ahead and put Malik on a teaser, getting 8.5. Go get it.
It would be funny if they asked the coach of the Titans like during the week. What's the guy's name? Brian Callahan
Yeah.
from Callahan Auto Parts. Um, does it help you having had Malik here for the last couple years to prepare for this game? And normally the coach is like, well, he's a competitor. But if he was just like, yeah, I mean, he's terrible. We watched it day after day after day. The guy can't make a throw. I can't wait to stack the line. We're just going to destroy him.
I have the what the fuck are you doings have to be close by now between Levis and Malik. Coach, can we see
Right.
your what the fuck are you doing rating system? Like, well, I have 11 for Will this year and
Coach,
I had 7 for Malik, even though I
Coach,
never
who made you
played.
put your
Yeah.
face in your hands more often the last 2 years? Browns home for the Giants. Browns could be 2-1. I mean, that was one of your things with them, right? You like their schedule.
Yeah. I didn't mind them, especially here.
I'm gonna say Browns by 6.5.
You're such a dirtbag, man. You got it exactly. I don't even know why I care anymore. It's out of reach. 6.5 is the number. I said 5.
Yeah. Sometimes true greatness can happen even on a YouTube live stream.
Is this going to be, well, I
That
don't
is
even
the
think it
most
would be an overreaction, but whichever quarterback comes up short here, that could be it.
I
Don't you
thought you were gonna
think?
say whoever goes up 3-0, the game is over.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah. But
If
if
the Giants can just
Dimes,
go up 3-0, it's done.
if they're 0-3 with Dimes, and Cleveland can make them look bad, but if they're
Yeah.
0-3, and if Watson doesn't show up here, there's going to be a suspicious investigation by midweek.
Cleveland's pass rush was very good today, but that's not
Mhm.
why Jacksonville sucked. They suck because they suck. Raiders home for the Panthers. So I thought about this. I don't know how the Panthers are getting less than 7 points against anyone in the league that's not the Giants at this point. Because I was
Mhm.
trying to think, like, if they play Washington, I just don't see, especially on the road. So I have Raiders by 7.
You're going to set a record for how many you got exactly. That's
Did I hit
exactly
that one?
right. Yeah. Let me count how many you
Fire,
have because
man.
you won the week. But 1,
I'm
2,
doing like the Michael Jordan
3,
shrug at Magic
4, 5.
Marv Albert. Do it. Hey,
5 exact picks. 6 exact picks. It's
I didn't ask
crazy
for
when
these
you
powers.
what could happen when you're staring right at the FanDuel homepage. It's amazing, the results.
Um, Sunday night, Chiefs Falcons. Somehow we get the Falcons again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess Chiefs by 3.5. My guess is if the Falcons suck tomorrow. This game's in Atlanta, by the way. If the Falcons suck tomorrow, this goes up, but 3.5 seemed fair. Would you have?
This is Vegas zone. I had it at 4. It's 4.5. But yeah, I mean,
Makes
really,
sense.
we have to see if Kirk Cousins can move. I mean, Joe House made a compelling case about breaking down his various different types of passes with Kirk Cousins last week. So,
Well,
you're
they
right.
had
We'll
all
see
these
Monday.
stats about how he used to run
Mm-hmm.
play action and like just all the different ways that they basically made sure he didn't move.
Yep. Play action was a big one.
Not great. Well, Monday night is a don't get divorced night. For some reason, there's 2 games. I don't know why they decide to do this. I think I like it for the most part. Bills
Yeah.
Jaguars is the first game. That's in Buffalo. I'm gonna not allow myself to bet on this game, but I have the Bills by 4.5.
I had it too, and it's 5.5. I had 4.5 also.
Hmm.
Isn't the second one, the later one, supposed to be the better one, or no? There's one's at 7:30, one's at 8:15 kickoff. Jacksonville, Buffalo's 7:30.
I
Washington,
mean, I would
Cincinnati's
argue they would
8:15.
think they before the year they probably thought both of these games were good because the other one, Cincinnati, Washington, with Jaden Daniels
Yeah,
against Burrow, LSU against LSU.
right. You know, if you had just toughed it out at ESPN, you would be calling one of these games, whichever the
I
lesser. Yeah, if you just
just
had toughed it out for
10
like
more
9 more
years.
years, yeah. What's wrong with you?
I would have loved that. I would have loved
So
calling the
short,
NBA.
so short-sighted.
Bengals minus 5.5 was my last one
That's what I got
against
too.
Washington.
7.5.
Oof.
They kind of have to win that game. They kind of have to win it.
That feels
That's a
like the
must win.
Houston game today that it's just going to be in everybody's I got to make my money back tease. That
Yeah,
was why I
right.
stayed away from Houston tonight because I was like, this seems too fishy. And
You almost
as it
got
turned
it.
out, they almost didn't get it anyway. All right, so I won week 3.
Oh yeah, you crushed me. Yeah, Cincinnati. I had Washington as my best bet. Probably as lucky as I can get on that because Giants kicker doesn't go out. They win by default, right? So,
Yeah,
but I might. I'm going to take back all my Jaden Daniels praise for now. Maybe it could be good, but I mean, he looks like Michael Jackson, the Billie Jean. I didn't realize how thin he is, just running around back there.
really skinny,
Yeah.
like crazy, stupid skinny.
Mhm.
Um, I don't. After watching him take some of these hits, he's somebody that doesn't seem like he's built for a 17 game season playing the way he's playing. That one hit
Yeah.
he took, it looked like he was going to be done for 4 months,
Yeah.
and then he
It
came
sucks that
back later.
we're forced to watch football differently now, but you have to care about these guys. You just do.
Well, meanwhile, Josh Allen's like LeBron. Like I don't even know what scenario he would even get hurt. You know,
Yeah.
like we always
Yeah.
said the joke about LeBron would his leg would come off and he would just pick it up and go get it and put it back on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of Josh Allen like, oh man, what a hit. Oh, he's always doling out the hit.
Yep. There you go, Bills fans. Simmons jinxed you. If Josh Allen comes
Oh, I
up
didn't
limp
mean to.
next week,
I like the Bills
Monday
fans.
night, there
Bills
you
fans
go.
are cool. They did a good thing with Tua this week. Um, let's do parent corner. What do you got?
Let's do it. All right. Okay, so my kid's on this travel baseball team, which is it's brutal travel baseball because you do travel. You go an hour and 15 minutes and they make sure you're never closer than that. And like I said, when you drive out, you pass 1,000 diamonds, but it doesn't matter. You're playing on the one that's an hour and 15 or an hour and 45. So when you get these tournaments, they're all Saturday and Sunday. And like you get the schedule on Thursday and you just don't want to get stuck with the 8 a.m. You don't want the 6 p.m. game either, but you don't want, and you're waiting for the results like it's from your cardiologist or something. And of course, we get the Saturday 8 a.m. game in Irvine, which means practice is at 7, which means we have to leave the house before 6, which means we have to wake up closer to 5 a.m. on Saturday to get to kids travel baseball.
There's nothing worse. I'm getting
Unbelievable.
PTSD just listening to this.
Just backtrack. Okay, hour here, hour. Okay, good. All right, 5 o'clock. It's dark for most of the ride. Great. So we do it. The two older boys want no part of it. So it's me, my wife, and Harrison, my 10-year-old.
Oh, you double parented it?
Yeah, yeah. I have to do the Saturday because I'm not around for the Sunday. I'm an absent
Yeah.
parent for Sunday because
I'm
they always
surprised
play
she
so
didn't
much.
say you take them on Saturday and I'll take them Sunday.
Well, I guess yes, you're right. I have to give her credit. I guess I should give her credit more. Yeah.
Good
So
parenting by her. Yeah.
we get there, we spend all day, we win both. We're in the semifinals, so we have to come back Sunday. So now we're driving back. It's about 2 o'clock, and like, all right, we haven't had lunch. And like, where do we want to go? And so she's looking at places and like, oh, there's an umami burger. And we had just made a list of the restaurants we hate that closed by us. An umami burger. And I don't get anything for this, I promise. I love umami burger and it's gone.
Got-
I'm like, that's great. And then she says to Harrison, like, oh, there's also a Denny's. The freaking Denny's a mile away also went away. So he's like, oh, let's go to Denny's. Yeah, let's go to Denny's. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I don't want to go to Denny's. I don't want to go. So I'm driving and my wife's like, well, do you want to put Denny's into Waze? I'm like, no, I'm not I put umami burger into Waze. I want to eat that. And she's like, oh, all right. I'm like, these kids, they get to make the call for where you eat all the time. I'm like, we woke up at 5:15. I want to pick lunch, like a big fat baby. I'm like, I want my lunch. You can get your lunch. So we go to Umami Burger and he has a burger and he loves it. And I was like, will you say this is the best burger you ever had? It makes for a good story on Parent Corner. He's like, no, I won't say that. It's not true. So anyway, it wasn't the best burger we ever had, but it's good. But my point is parents have to take back our eating decisions. We let our kids bulldoze us for the basic reason that we have fewer meals remaining. We have to pick it. And by the way, you look at me, I'm not, I'm definitely getting whatever meal I want overall. So you can't feel too bad. But do you agree with me? We let the kids decide too much, even though it's chicken, burgers, and pizza all the time, and we just rotate. Parents need to pick the meals.
I think you make some great points.
Thank you.
Parents need to take back the head coaching
for meals.
This is like, no, I think for a lot of different things. It's a lot of like you're asking like an 8-year-old, what do you want to do today? And it's like, maybe you should make the schedule. You're the adult. Tell them what to do. I always feel this way, like you go to like some sports bar and they have like 130 things on the menu and like 40 beers on taps. And it's like, why can't you just have like some good stuff and you make the decision for me? What are your 3 best things?
Right.
I don't want all this power. Like we do the same thing with 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds. Of course, the 10-year-old is going to say, let's go to Denny's.
Yeah. The 10-year-old should have no say anyway.
Let's go to Dairy Queen.
Especially when you're leaving at 5 a.m. to get your 10-year-old wherever the hell you need to.
I have so many different possible parent corners, but I think all of them would get me in trouble.
Really? There's nothing about umami burger.
So, all right, here's one.
Burger.
So I do like umami burger. I thought that was a good call. I mean, the most exciting thing was Fogo de Chao reaching out to us after we mentioned them 2 weeks
they
ago.
did, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
We don't want anything for Fogo de Chao either. We just want to, we just want all legal liability if Brad dies at Fogo de Chao. We don't want to be held responsible. So, when your kids, like, as they're growing up, they're on your apps. Like they're on your Uber potentially. They're on your Postmates. They're on Caviar, whatever it is. They're tied to there because they're not old enough to have their own thing. So my daughter's in college and she's still on like my Starbucks and my Postmates and my Caviar. And the Starbucks, she's probably there twice a day. And for some reason didn't get her own Starbucks. And I'll just see these things in my Starbucks. All of a sudden I have like $8 left on my Starbucks. I'm like, what the fuck? And she's just charging stuff constantly. But when I was with her a couple weeks ago, we got Starbucks. She's like, I'll order it. So then, they get the drinks. She's like, I've got 2 drinks for Bill. And she's like, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, so you're ordering the drinks and then you're saying you're Bill, but it's you and she's like, yeah, they all know me as Bill here. And I'm like, this is insane. Um, so I made her get her own Starbucks, but then she also had, I think, caviar. And
What the hell is
sometimes
what's caviar? What is that?
caviar is like a Postmates thing. There's a couple different ones.
Oh, okay.
But she, isn't it like one of the DoorDash or caviar, whatever? It's called caviar.
Okay.
But anyway, she's in college, so
Right.
I'll get these things. I'll get these emails like, your pizza from Otto's Pizza is 5 minutes away.
Nice.
It's like 2 in the morning East Coast time. I'm like, oh my God, her boyfriend must have wanted pizza. So I finally was like, that's it. You got to get your own stuff. Like just tie it to your, I'm out. I don't want to know what you're ordering from Caviar. You're not on my Starbucks anymore. You don't get to be Bill. It's time. You turned 19. It's time for you to have your own name
Please
on the
let me be
apps.
Bill. Please
She's like, I
let me
just want to be Bill for 5 more minutes. So anyway, she got her own Starbucks, and now she's forging her own identity with her own names on the apps.
What
She
does
has her
your
own
wife think
Uber.
of that? Because it is a good way to track them, though. It is. I get that part of it.
Yeah, it is. I did think of that part, but it's way more annoying to see that somebody ordered pizza or whatever at 2 in the morning. I
Yeah.
don't know that. Anyway,
Yeah, I
that's me.
guess so. All right. Well, they were both
I have.
food related. Both our parent corners.
I want to go dark web parent corner for some of
Do
this
it.
stuff with both of my kids at this point, but pretty much all of it would get me in trouble, so I can't. You're at the best parent corner age. That 10 to 11 is the best.
I have the 10-year-old that doesn't listen. Yeah, so it's fine. He doesn't listen to me, and he doesn't listen to the podcast. So
it's funny that your wife is still putting in this kind of time with him when now that she knows from your oldest son, when he turns 17, he's gonna have no time for her ever again.
You know what? I hadn't thought
You
of
should
that.
mention that to her.
That's a good thing. I am going to mention
Like you're putting in all this time with Harrison. Archie was home for 3 months and he said 10 words to you.
That's it. We didn't see him. Well, that might be why she's trying to do it. Just, making up for lost time. But I'm not doing it every Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. What is the Denny's thing? Or is that the Grand Slam? Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity's IHOP? You don't know. You're on caviar.
When did caviar become controversial?
I don't know. I'm just trying to make.
If he had said IHOP instead of Denny's, would you have been more excited?
I think I would have a little bit. At least I kind of
like IHOP. Yeah, IHOP's good.
We got to take back our orders. You literally took back your order with the bill and the
like if he'd done like a Waffle House type of place, that would have been the win.
Yeah, not a lot of those in Irvine.
Yeah, Denny's needs a rehab. All right, that's it for Parent Corner. Anything else before we go?
No,
you want
that's
to talk
it.
about James Baby Doll Dixon robbing our cousin?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm wearing the Jimmy Kimmel Live hat. They lost again. They finally got.
But why'd they lose? What was the reason this time? There's a specific reason.
Let's give some background. So John Oliver won 63 years in a row, and then he wasn't eligible for the award, right? So
they changed it so that he was like, they moved him to the category he should have been in, which was like with Saturday Night Live and all these weekly shows, opening the door for our cousin to finally win an Emmy.
Right. In comes Jon Stewart, who our cousin joked about during his presentation today. Jon Stewart wins. Jon Stewart, we love Jon Stewart, but one day a week is not 4 or 5 days a week. And Jon Stewart wins. Now, Jon Stewart,
Daily Show wins, which he's the EP
Daily
of.
Show wins. Right. Exactly.
But how did this Jon Stewart thing happen?
Jon Stewart was happy,
smoking gun.
Happy milking goats or whatever he was doing in upstate New York.
Yeah, he's on a farm. He's just like making healthy cheese.
Yeah, he was like churning butter, whatever he was doing.
More than enough money. Didn't need any more
heirlooms.
Money.
Yeah, everything. In comes Baby Doll, and what does he say? No, I can get you back on TV. Comedy Central.
Baby Doll's like, they're going to give us the Daily Show, baby. We're going to run this whole thing. You only have to be on Monday nights. We're going to make so much money, baby. It's going to be amazing. The election cycle. And Jon Stewart, he's wearing like an apron. He's milking cows. He's milking goats. He's got no Wi-Fi. He's got no internet. You have to go visit him, just have a conversation.
No caviar. You asked that guy to order caviar.
No caviar. He has no apps.
Yeah.
Then he's thrown away all his suits. He doesn't have any suits anymore. And Baby Doll shows up, and within 2 months, he's back on TV. And guess who wins the Emmy? Baby Doll and Jon Stewart. Baby Doll is executive producer too.
Right. Greedy, greedy MFer. Pretends to be our
How
friend
many
on these
houses
text
are
chains
enough?
and everything.
How many country clubs are enough?
The answer, 14 is not the answer.
Still higher.
It's got more than that.
Anyway,
Thanks,
our
Baby
cousin didn't win the Emmy.
Yeah.
Because of Baby
Next
Doll.
year. Wait till next year.
Baby Doll, he had 3 of the 4 people in the category. Because Colbert,
right?
Seth Meyers was the only one he doesn't have, and he's probably going to sign him tomorrow.
I'll get Seth. Seth was the one who got away, baby. Don't worry, I'm not done with him.
Seth knows we're going to work together at some point. All right, Sal, what do you got to plug?
That's it. Through the ringer with Tate. I have Against All Odds with the fellas, the D3, Cousin Sal's winning weekend, and the Ringer pregame show. It's a lot of fun. Hit my best bet, hit my underdog play of the day, and not a dime to show for it.
The Ringer pregame show is fantastic. And the good thing, if you go on YouTube TV and you subscribe to it, then it just shows up in your library. It tapes it automatically. It's really great. You go to, it pops up right. YouTube TV is really good. Anyway, Sal, as always, good job by you.
Good job by you, buddy.
Thanks for everybody who